Hello everyone, welcome to part 9 of the Git tutorial for beginners. And in this video, we are going to learn how to ignore files in Git. Okay, so there are many a times that we want to ignore files in Git. We don't want them to push to the Git repository, and we don't even want them to push to add to the Git staging area. Okay, so we have the staging area. We already know that this is the staging area of the Git, and this is the Git repository. But we don't want to push that to repository. We don't want to add them to the staging area. Like this is the about us file, and we don't want that Git will track this file. Git will add this file to the staging area, and Git will further push this file to the repository. So in that case, there is a way to ignore such files, and we need to create one more file. We need to create that is identified by the Git, and that is the git ignore file. Git ignore, Git ignore, as the name suggests. This is the git ignore. It will ignore the other files. Ignore. Okay, so this is the file dot git ignore. This is the file that we need to create inside our folder, inside our project folder. And in this file we need to type all the names of the files that we want to ignore, that we don't want that Git will push it further. Okay, like uh, there is some test file, like I will create like this one, test.txt file, just for the test purpose. I don't want that Git will push it to further, so I will simply type this file inside this file. Okay, simply we will add the name, this test.txt, inside this file. Suppose if I want to ignore all the test files that is located inside the folder, that I will simply do star.txt. I will ignore all these. Git will ignore all the test files. Okay, so if we want to ignore the folders, then we just will give the folder name. So I will practically tell you everything about this git ignore file, about how to ignore files in Git, so that you will better able to understand. Okay, so let's start. uh, so this is our test Git folder. This folder we have created, I think few videos back, and in this field folder we have created some of the files. You can see some of the files. Okay, so first I'm going to check the status of this folder, new terminate folder, git status. So we can see some of the changes are required to be committed, and some are not state for the commit. So I will do one thing. I will do this git add git commit minus m, uh, all changes done. Okay, so so that it will clean. Okay, I will check now the git status. See, now it is clean. So if we are going to run the command again in new terminal folder, git status, so now there is nothing to commit. Okay, only push is required, and we are not going to push right at this time. Okay, so now see, now I'm going to create one file, one test file I'm going to create. And for test file in Mac, I can create the test file like touch uh, test.txt. Okay, so now I will check inside the folder. This file has been created. In Windows you can simply create the file by right click, and you can create the notepad file and can rename the name with test.txt. So I will run the git status command once again. Okay, now we can see this is the untracked file. Git able to check this file. Okay, so I don't want that Git will check this file. I want that Git to ignore this file. Okay, so this is my personal file. This is personal file, and I want Git to ignore this file. Okay, so I don't want that Git to add this file at the staging area and further to push it to Git repository. I don't want it. Okay, to ignore this file. So what I will do here, I will create one file, like I have told you, that this is the file that we need to create. so that we can add all the other files that we want to ignore. Okay, so I will create this file, git ignore file I'm going to create inside this folder. So for creating such file, I need to run that touch command again in Mac. Touch dot git ignore. So this is the file I want to create inside this test git folder, and we will go inside. Here the file has been created as the hidden file. So for checking in Mac, I will do that command shift dot, okay, to check this file. So we can check here. This is the file that we have created. This is the .git folder that is also hidden, and this is the file that we have created, .git ignore. Okay, so this file has been created as the hidden file automatically. So in Windows also you can check, you can create this file, okay, inside your folder. Manually you can create this file inside your git folder, inside your project folder where you have the git. Okay, so now I will manually open this file. Here git ignore file is here, so I will add this test.txt file that I want to ignore. You can see that it is coming in green in Sublime. Okay, so test.txt file I want to ignore. So I have added this, the name of this file here, because it's located at the root. So I am not required to give any kind of path here. Okay, so now I will run the git status once again, and see, now it must ignore this file. Test.txt must not come. Let's see. So you can see here that this time this file has come, but test.txt has not come. I will close this one and will do once again, so that you will not get confused. A new terminated folder. Now I will do the git status. Now it will not track any file, it will only track this file .git ignore. Okay, so that file we are going to push to the server. That is not an issue with this file. We are going to push it to the to further. But see, we able to ignore this test.txt file now. Okay, so this is the way that we can ignore. Now suppose I have created more files here. Okay, let's create more files. I'm going to create a touch test1.txt, touch test2.txt, touch test3.txt. In Windows you know how to create this file, simple way. Okay, you can create these test files. So I will do now git status. So now see, now it's saying that all these files are required to push, but I don't want git to track this file. So one way is to write again and again. Suppose if there are 30-40 files, or if there are 100 files, then you need to type out test1.txt, test2.txt. See, it is a very long process. Okay, see, it is very long process if you are going to do that. See, yeah, surely it will ignore those files. See, I have added test1, test2. It ignored this time. Now see, it removed. Earlier on it was coming, now it has been removed. But it's a lengthy process. So for that, what we are going to do, we are going to do the simple thing, star.txt. That's it, star.txt, and it will ignore all the txt files located inside the working directory, located inside our project folder. Okay, so now we are going to run this git status once again, and you can see all the files have been ignored. Only .git ignore file is coming. So let me commit this file also. Okay, git add dot, I am going to add this file. I am going to commit this file, git, git ignore file adder, git ignore file adder. Okay, so there is no issue in adding this file. Okay, so now see, now I am going to run the git status. Now it will not show any other file. You can see it is totally empty. It is just asking to push the files further to the master. Okay, that I don't want at this time. I am we are just learning the git ignore, how to ignore the files in git. Okay, so now suppose one more thing we are going to do now. Now suppose I'm going to make it empty. Okay, so if I will make it empty, then once again I will run the git status. Then you can see all the files come up again. Okay, test.txt, test1.txt, and it is also saying that you have modified this file. Okay, so once again all the files are come up. Okay, so that's not an issue. That's fine. But suppose if we want to ignore one folder, suppose if all these files are located inside one folder, like if I will create one test folder, and I will just put this file inside this folder, all test file inside this folder. Okay, so here I am going to now run once again git status, and here you can see, now see this test folder is coming up, and it is saying that this is the untracked file, this is the untracked folder. Okay, so what I am going to do here, I can simply ignore this folder by typing here test slash. Okay, it will ignore the complete folder. If the folder will contain any files, okay, then it will completely see ignore this folder. Now this one, now test folder will get ignored. Git status, now see it is not showing that folder at all. You can see that it ignores the complete folder. Okay, okay, so let's review once again what we have done in this video. There are three things that we have done in this video. One is, if we want to ignore some specific file, ignore some specific file. Okay, so that we can do, simply add the file like test.txt. Okay, like this is the file that we want to ignore, that we are going to add this file in git ignore. Okay, so we are going to type this one, simply type, and it will ignore. And next one is, if we want ignore all files of the same extension, ignore all files having same extension. Okay, same extension. Okay, so uh, we are going to ignore this by star.txt, like the file names are test1, test2, test3, like this. Okay, so there is one more thing that we have done, that is ignore folders, or we can also say directories. Okay, folders or directories, and for that we will simply give the folder name, like the test folder is there, so we are simply required to give the folder like this test, then slash, we will give the slash as well. So in the gitignore file, see, we have given the test slash. Okay, so like this we can able to add all the files that we want to ignore, all the folders that we want to ignore in the git ignore file, so that git will not add to the staging area and will not push it further to the repository. Okay, so this is the benefit of the git ignore. And see, we are going to use this git ignore file a lot of time, like we are going to work with our laravel projects very soon. We are going to upload our laravel projects with the help of git to the git server. Okay, git batch server, so github server. Okay, so that we are going to do, so for that we will use the git ignore file as well, to ignore some of the files that we don't want to push it to the repository. Okay, then that's all for now. If you have any trouble, you can surely ask me, and do subscribe the channel for more updates. So that's all. Have a nice time. Goodbye.